a date with a 49-year-old man, and 3 days later he called me to let me know he doesn't want anything serious, but would I be open to something casual? If I wanted an F-buddy, why on earth would I pick a 49-year-old man? No one wants you for casual, honey. If I wanted a casual little F-buddy, I'd get like a 28-year-old.
As you probably picked up in that little clip, the women in today's video aren't having the easiest time when it comes to dating. But can their problems be solved? Or are they destined to live alone for the rest of their lives? Let's find out.
I have no problem when guys tell me, oh, your standards are too high. Shit, no problem, because the guy behind you said light work.
Damn, boy,
Yeah,
this girl has way too much game for me.
No, because
I'm gonna call you a Risley Bear.
No,
you have
I tell my girls, same thing as the whole, if he wanted to, he would. I always say, you're not asking for too much. You're asking the wrong guy.
To be honest with you, people are free to have whatever standards they want when it comes to dating. Whether or not they can find the type of man or woman that you're looking for is another thing. Now, I haven't seen this clip in its entirety, so when she's talking about standards, I don't exactly know what she's referring to. That said, when this type of thing is talked about online, it's almost always about the money, and I think that's likely the case here. If it is the money and lavish lifestyle she's talking about, and she expects her future, or maybe even current partner to set it up for her, I hope she finds her happy ending. But it might not be all it's cracked up to be if you're not looking to make certain concessions when dealing with a guy like that.
Any girl would agree with me on this. A situationship and breaking off a situationship hurts a lot fucking more than an ending of a relationship, in my opinion. It's just there's so much ambiguity, no closure. Were we ever anything in the first place? What are we even cutting off? No contact. There's just there's too much gray area. And I fucking hate gray area. I'm OCD, black and white. That's how I think. If it's not like this, I get flustered. Okay. But I've had many situationships, many men that I probably would have dated, but they did not want to date me. They're lost, but like whatever.
If you're someone who's looking for a relationship, a situationship isn't something you should even be entertaining. While it obviously does happen sometimes, once a girl's firmly cemented herself in a situationship, it's very rare that things will ever change, and she even said that as much towards the end of the clip. More often than not, when it comes to situationships, someone's gonna get hurt, and more often than not, it's gonna be the woman. And there are studies that have been done on this that I've talked about in the past.
I'm standing on the train and look at all these men. What happened to giving up your seat for women? No man offered me a seat. Excuse me, are you going to get up?
What?
Are you going to get up?
Are you pregnant?
No.
Are you for equality?
Yes.
Then fuck off.
No respect. Chivalry is dead.
I don't think this video's real, but things like this happen all the time these days, and you'll often hear women complain about how men aren't men anymore. The thing is, with all the talk of men and women being the same, the logical outcome of that is that men will start treating women like men. Why wouldn't they? Now, usually, when people talk about equality in this way, women like to say that they are talking about equal pay and equal treatment at work. But everything else, well, that should stay as it is.
That doesn't sound fair to me at all.
Unfortunately, though, a lot of men, especially younger men, are like, if you think it's so good to be a man, you should live like a man. Which means you should get used to your needs being ignored.
I'm sorry, but I have to say this. Someone that is 5'9", not me, a guy. Someone that is 5'9" thinks that he can take 2 days to respond to me. Let me repeat that, he's 5'9". Let me repeat that, he's 5'9". He's getting blocked.
The way some women like to be out here just blasting and ridiculing men because of their height makes me think that men should bring that same energy to the table when it comes to a woman's weight. You can't kick and scream about how men are awful because they judge women based on their waistline. Then in the next breath, want to do the same thing to men regarding their height. Make it make sense to me.
Men don't care about your personality. They don't care about your dreams, your goals, what you want to achieve in life, your likes, your dislikes. They don't care about these things.
I disagree with most of what she said already. I don't really care about what a woman I like does for a living, because, unlike women, we don't make judgments about them regarding their financial or social status. So in that sense, you could even argue that we're the less shallow gender. Contrary to what she said though, we very much do care about a woman's personality and the things she's into. especially when you're talking about someone we actually want to start building something serious with.
Men do not care about you as a person. They care about what you can offer them.
Can't men say this exact same thing about women? I mean, they're the ones always going on about how a guy should be willing to spend X amount on a first date. It doesn't sound at all like women care about men in that instance. All those types of women are interested in is the experience a guy can give them. It's nothing to do with him.
They care about if there's something in it for them. That's why men usually don't do things unless they're going to get something out of it.
The reality is, no one does anything unless they can get something out of it, which is the whole thing about how altruism isn't actually possible, because we all do things because we know that we're going to get something out of it. And that thing can even be as small as you just feeling good about yourself for helping someone out.
So if a man is going out of his way, doing a lot of things, and you're like, oh my God, he's doing all these grand gestures, he wants something. He's doing it to get something out of you. Men don't do things just because they're kind human beings.
Yeah, if a guy's interested in a woman and he wants to clap cheeks or maybe even get into something serious, of course he's going to try and impress the woman he's interested in. And I'm pretty sure that's something that the majority of animals do when they're looking for a mate.
If a man's doing something, he wants something out of you. He wants access to you. He wants access to you. That's why a lot of men love bomb in the beginning stages, because it's a manipulation tactic that is used to make you feel closer than you actually are. The more closer you feel to the man, the more he knows he's going to have access to you. The more he's going to get what he wants. That's why you have to be switched on. You have to be switched on. You have to be on the lookout for these things.
To me, this just sounds like an animal trying to find a mate, which is exactly what the majority of us are trying to do. And women have their own way of doing things to get stuff out of a man or to get him to commit to her so she can get that stability and security that most women crave. There's nothing new or shocking about anything she talked about in this video. It's pretty much what you'd expect when it comes to the mating and dating game. It's just that men and women have their own way about going about things in this particular arena.
All of your problems would literally be solved if you just stopped sleeping with men. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. You will stop being frustrated, upset with yourself, upset with the world, upset with your circumstances if you just stop sleeping with men. Because if something doesn't work out, if something doesn't go your way, you're not going to be in this suspended state of depression and anxiety and low self-worth because you didn't give away your most valuable asset physically, biologically, spiritually, emotionally, like in every single way.
To be fair to her, she's not wrong about any of this. And unlike one of the women we saw in an earlier clip, she won't find herself in a situationship, endlessly wondering if things with the guy she's hooking up with will actually turn into anything serious.
When is it all gonna come to an end when it comes to dating? Work on yourself so that you attract the right person, okay? Be more active in dating. Go on the dating apps, okay? Don't be looking for it. Don't go there. Just let life be, okay? Say what you want. Don't say what you want. I don't know. I've done it all. Like, I've done it absolutely all. I'm in my life, and I'm in a moment in my life that I'm doing really well, and I'm very happy. And I'm happy to give love and receive love. And no one wants me, and I don't think I'm that bad looking, and I don't think, I'm not fun. I'm a lot of fun actually. I'm destroyed.
If she's really done it all and is putting herself out there, I have to think it's something to do with the type of men she's choosing. I'd be confident to put money on the fact that there are men in her life who'd want to show her the world, but for whatever reason, they're not on her radar, and instead, she's chasing after the guys that every other woman wants. And this is even more likely if she's heavily invested in this online dating thing, because that's where the 80-20 rule is operating at its max.
Why can't men get their heads around the fact that a lot of women that are single by choice. Like, obviously it's because they are only single because nobody wants to be with them. Like, have you seen us? Have you seen women? If a woman wants a boyfriend, she can get a boyfriend. Literally any time of the day. Like, just go on a dating app and every man will match with you because they're desperate for a female's touch. Like, it's so funny when guys are like, oh, I can see why you're single. Yeah, it won't be the same reason why you're single, though.
I'd be more than happy to agree with the fact that some women are single out of choice. But that's not going to be the majority because we're a social species. Living and being alone isn't going to be what makes us the happiest. Now, she goes on to say that if a woman wants to get a boyfriend, she could get one. And while this is technically true, it's also not at the same time. If a woman wanted to get a boyfriend today, she probably could. But the reality is, I'm pretty certain that it's not going to be the type of man she wants. When it comes to women getting into a relationship, finding a dude to settle down with isn't really the problem. The problem is finding a guy they genuinely want to be with. So I have no idea what this chick's talking about because it's not that easy for women to land themselves in a relationship that'd actually make them happy.
I wish men would communicate their feelings more often, whether good or bad. You know, men are conditioned to not be as in touch with their feelings. They don't want to be seen as like soft or weak or anything. But as a woman, if a man can clearly communicate his thoughts and feelings, it's very attractive. But then not being able to communicate well is like a constant theme. When I see my friends date their relationships and a couple of the guys I've dated, like a couple of the guys I dated, like it would not communicate if something was bothering them or if they didn't like something, if they thought I might not like what they have to say, like they would shove their feelings down and like keep it all bottled up. And then it just all blows up at some point down the line. And then it's just like a much bigger deal and issue when it wouldn't have been as big of a deal if they had just stated it at the time. And one thing about me is like, if I don't like something or I feel a way about something, good or bad, I am going to fucking say it. I am going to say it. I am going to communicate it. So if a man can't communicate his thoughts and feelings, how are you supposed to date them?
It's so funny when women talk about this whole communication thing because they're actually terrible at it when it comes to sorting things out in a relationship.
What's wrong? Nothing.
Now, are men perfect communicators? No, not at all. But I don't know why people are always out here acting like they've got this shit on lock. Because they don't.
Moment of silence because I got ghosted by a 5'8" man. So this guy was super adamant on taking me out on a date, which I was like, all right, let's go, I guess. I'm not really in the mindset of dating anybody, but I was like, let's just see how it goes. I went on the date and I could tell that he was super nervous, which was kind of cute. I was also really nervous because this was my first date after a long-term relationship, and I was like, I don't even know why I'm here, really. After the date, he walked me back to where my friends were. He was like, I would love to do this again. I would love to take you to Carbone. I was like, all right, let's go to Carbone. Like, I'm down. And I got home and I was thinking, I'm like, I don't really like this guy. Like, we're not on the same vibe. He's really nice, but like, I wasn't like in love with him, which I did not want to be. So honestly, at the end of the day, it worked out for me. After, he was like, I had a really great time. And he just never answered my text. Kind of wanted some feedback. Like, what did I do wrong? Like, did I say something wrong? Like, I don't know. I was just kind of like bugging a little bit, even though I was gonna ghost him. Literally did not care at all because, like I said, I was gonna ghost him anyways. I just didn't really feel like we were vibing.
I don't get why she was so bothered by him not messaging her. She wasn't even into him, and even said towards the end of the clip that she was gonna ghost him. From the first few seconds of the video, you could tell that she wasn't into him. And when a woman lacks enthusiasm like this, it's not even worth your time pursuing. Because, just like the guy in this story, you'll end up wasting your time and money. It's also hard to ignore that at the start of this video, she noted the man's height, almost as if she was trying to suggest that because he's not super tall, he has no business rejecting a woman like this. And this feeling was echoed throughout the comments.
Sorry, but reading the comments as a 5'5" guy, what did I do? It's an insult to be ghosted by a 5'8" guy, but if he's 6'2", it doesn't matter. Can someone explain that?
Can already tell you're a horrible person, just from the first sentence that came out of your suck hole.
Moment of silence for being ghosted by a 5'8" man.
And there were plenty of women like this Abby chick in the comments. So I don't think men should be shy about disclosing the fact that they don't want to date a woman who's over a certain weight. Because on the other side, they have no problem putting a guy down because of his height.
I don't understand boys. Like, I'm so completely baffled by them because I sent a message to this guy on Instagram who I think is pretty cute, like, over the weekend. Bearing in mind, I might have been a bit drunk, but I was like, hey, I've been meaning to reach out, like, do you want to go for a drink? Look at me go, like, feminist woman here, like, putting myself out there. And he responds nearly immediately and goes, yeah, that'd be nice. Oh my god, that's like the best reaction I could have ever hoped for. And then he ghosted me. He ghosted me. Like, if you had said, no, listen, I'm like not really interested, or no, listen, like I'm seeing somebody else, or like, you know, I'm not really sure, like that's a good idea. Oh my god, so fine, so fine. I was putting it out there, I had to ask the question. Don't tell me yes, and then ghost me, indicating that you actually didn't want to. What, like, oh my god, I can't do this, I can't.
I gotta respect her for shooting her shot, but this is the game, and getting rejected or ghosted is something guys have to deal with all the time. It's just something you gotta get used to.
Out on a date with a 49-year-old man, and 3 days later he called me to let me know he doesn't want anything serious, but would I be open to something casual? If I wanted an F buddy, why on earth would I pick a 49-year-old man? No one wants you for casual, honey. If I wanted a casual little F buddy, I'd get like a 28-year-old. It's insulting to even ask. I wanted you for that career, that long career. Aren't you gonna retire soon? I want you for your senior citizen discount. The absolute audacity of these old men. He is almost 50. On the date, he tells me that he's meeting with a spiritual advisor to help him figure out what he wants out of life. I'm looking at him thinking, you have 10 good years left. What do you mean? He's trying to figure out whether or not he wants to get married and have kids. It reminds me of that viral noise. Do you know you have 30 minutes? 30 minutes! Absolutely wild that an almost 50-year-old man needs help figuring out what he wants out of life. And at this point, just commit to the bit. Just be single. Be a bachelor forever. You've taken it this far. Jesus. He's 15 years older than me. Is he getting women my age that are like, yeah, this will be my F buddy? These women have mental problems. Isn't the point of an F buddy like getting like some young hot thing, not some old guy who probably needs to take pills?
It's pretty obvious to me that he just wanted to clap cheeks and wasn't interested in building anything with her. Now, I obviously don't know if they smashed or not, but the fact that she was triggered enough to make a video like this is kind of telling, at least in my opinion. But as always, I could be wrong about this. I don't really see what the big deal is. It just sounds like he wasn't really into her, or like she said, isn't the type of guy who's interested in committing to anyone.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but is it not harder to fall in love nowadays? Like, what is happening? Why do I have to not communicate with you? When I want to call you, why do I have to not? Why do I have to not respond for 24 hours? Why do I have to play hard to get? Why do I have to be this person that I'm not? Why can't I just be and be happy and like you and not second guess me showing that I like you? I just don't understand this dating culture. It's really upsetting. And being single and not wanting to date in the first place is already hard enough, but when you finally find someone that you like and the advice that you're getting online is to just not be yourself, it's crazy to me. I'm a healed person. I don't want to be playing games. I want someone to like me for me and me like them back and communicate.
All the games she's complaining about having to play sound like the type of shit men are always advised to do when dating someone so they don't come off as being too eager or whatever, which, truth be told, is off-putting to some women. Playing the dating game is something a lot of people feel like they need to do if they're looking to be successful when they're out there on the market. I remember being in my early 20s thinking just like her, why can't a girl like me for me? Or, why do I have to do all these things just to not come across as being a certain way? Of course, as time goes on, you find your footing and own way of doing things. If you're the kind of person who wants to text and call, do that. And if you put yourself out there enough and continue to learn from your experiences, the odds of you finding someone you actually want to be with and is on the same wavelength as you will be a lot higher. Not guaranteed, but higher.
It is so funny that men still say all women care about is money, when all men care about is looks. The 95% of men are not going to give you the time of day romantically if they don't find you attractive. Even the best guy you know, the nicest guy you know, is still superficial. There are exceptions. There are exceptions. But for men of all ages, they are extremely superficial when it comes to looks. And no, I'm not saying like every man expects you to be a supermodel, but he does want you to be attractive.
On a biological level, it's nothing to do with being shallow. Attractiveness is just a sign of health and fertility. That's all it is when you strip everything down to its core. And the same can be said for women who want a man who's able to provide. There's nothing shallow about that. It's just a part of the human condition and how we've been able to survive until this point. It seems to me that the reason why there's so much tension between men and women these days is because our biological nature as humans and our evolutionary past aren't really being taken into account when these conversations are being had.
In the initial dating process. So anytime a man tries to make you feel bad for being like, no, I want a man who can financially provide. I want a man who can give me a decent lifestyle. Especially if you're gonna have kids, don't feel guilty for wanting that. That's not even superficial. That's a smart thing to do, especially if you want kids. Like if a guy can't even provide for himself, that means he's gonna expect you to be popping out these kids, going through pregnancies, and supporting him financially. Obviously, that's like the epitome of like what women are now calling a dusty. I don't think women should ever not be superficial whenever it comes to money. And the men that tell you their sob story about how they started from nothing and then they became successful and they're so glad their wife stood by them, those are the exceptions. And again, even hearing those stories, you don't owe it to any man to stand by him when he cannot afford anything.
Yeah, which is why if you're a guy of means who chooses to sign that marriage contract, the smart thing to do is to protect your ass so that in case things don't work out, your ass doesn't get dragged through the mud as everything in your bank account gets drained. I honestly don't think most men have a problem when it comes to providing for the woman they're building a life with. But what does worry us is what could happen if that relationship goes south. Because if you're with the wrong type of woman, you can find yourself in a financial hole that's next to impossible to dig your way out of. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. But I'd like to know what you thought about all this. And let me know if this sort of longer format is to your liking.